Well, good morning, everybody. As we start this third day of this ice storm that's hitting parts of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and western Kentucky and Tennessee, we can see the setup here has got that cold air, that sub-freezing air at the surface getting pretty far to the south in Texas. And over the top of this, if I just step you up to about a mile above our heads, we can see that around this large subtropical ridge, we're just pushing that flow right over it with the above freezing air. So then the effect of that is to, again, put that warmer air aloft over the surface sub-freezing layer. And it gives you a sounding from weather balloon data that looks like this. We talked about it yesterday. So this is just a look at Dallas-Fort Worth. There was a lot of course, traffic accidents and major problems in Dallas. And then this is just one place in parts of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and again, western Kentucky and Tennessee that's seen just a tremendous amount of ice over the last few days. And what we're looking for here is this large, warm sector. There's the 0 degree isotherm in Celsius, so this is above freezing. And here's that deep surface sub-freezing layer. So we expect to see the morning weather balloon launches to look very similar to this across a large part of the south. And so you can see that once again today we've got ice storm warnings from Texas all the way through Arkansas, parts of Oklahoma. Northern Mississippi's included in this now, getting into Tennessee. Winter storm warnings surround that. For the most part, this will be the most substantial precipitation event we're going to see here over the next week. There are a few systems coming into the northwest. I'll show you those in a few moments. And we got a very large Arctic outbreak that will be coming through again very quickly through the northern plains now and end up in New England very soon. So we need to cover all of that. But just to show you how much more ice were expected, this was this morning's National Digital Forecast Database update looking at the total amount of ice expected over these next couple of days. Most of this coming today, but we can possibly pick up another ½ inch of ice across this region here. I mean, anything over a tenth, anywhere where you see pink, honestly, on this map is really something that needs to be monitored carefully. Now, when I started writing the report this morning, this has since been updated, but what you've got here is that now in Texas, we're up to 161,000 people without power, about 11,000 in Arkansas. California just showed up with 13,000 without power. This was kind of a new development here over the last couple of hours this morning. But I expect these numbers into these states just to continue to climb throughout the day. This website, which I linked in the report, is poweroutage.us. It's a good one just to keep a close eye on. So let's go from here to the high-res NAM and just kind of watch this all unfold. So let's pick this up here. It is at 9 o'clock this morning. Now remember that pink is representing where that overrunning is creating the freezing rain event. So as we play this forward throughout the day today, a large part of Texas into the Red River Valley at the south, then spreading into Arkansas in the overnight hours, well, this evening into the overnight hours, and eventually into northern Mississippi, Tennessee, and parts of Kentucky. So that's it. That's the last push of this ice storm right here, which starts today and lasts through tomorrow morning. And then the rain presses east as we get out here into Friday, Thursday night into Friday morning. Take note that coming off of that high pressure cell here, so the flow around this high, remember, does something like this. We're going to be seeing enough cold air going across the Great Lakes to produce some lake effect snow. And this is also what's going to push that really cold air off to the east. I'll show you that in a few moments. But overall, the next 7 days, the pattern is not active. We're moving a very volatile temperature pattern around, but the jet stream configuration with split flow in the Gulf of Alaska and a big subtropical ridge is not necessarily setting things up to be, above average in terms of precip for a big section of the United States and Canadian prairies. So you've been looking at a map here showing you the next 7 days of total accumulated precipitation. Again, most of this is coming in the next 48 hours. All right. So to see this, let's go to the European model, which will run out 10 days for us. And let's get through the first system we've already talked about. So let's get all the way out here to Friday midday. There's a low coming into parts of the Pacific Northwest. We will drag a cold front through California. That's been consistent in the models. And that'll happen as that really cold air just pushes into parts of New England with the large high on Saturday morning sitting over Ohio. Now from here, you're going to see that much of the south gets an extended break through the weekend away from the precipitation. We're going to keep an eye on Sunday for this larger low to come into coastal Oregon and Washington. The southern end of it will hit California, so there is moisture coming in, but this is actually below normal what can happen this time of year in terms of total precipitation and snowfall. So as we see that low coming in, there's going to be two components to it. There's actually a low that's going to eventually come into Oregon and Northern California and end up in Colorado. And while that's occurring, there's a clipper that runs out of the Canadian Prairie, the northern part of it, setting up right here. But this is all a part of one kind of elongated area of low pressure. So the one to the north that runs through parts of northern Saskatchewan and Manitoba, then spreads some snow with a front to its south into parts of Ontario and hits the Great Lakes. So right in through there. And then this whole system is linked. That's one large front. And there's a high pressure cell here pushing in this direction, another one on the backside like that. So we're giving some, decent chance for some lift along this front. So it may not be for many people right here in the midsection of the country until next Tuesday morning that we see a chance for precip. Now the split flow in the Gulf of Alaska just continues to target systems in like this. So that's why you're going to continue to see better chances for snow in the northern Rockies and in the Cascades, and some coastal rain here going forward for the Pacific Northwest. But that low next Tuesday night, getting through Wednesday, will spread east. And with the high pressure cell sitting here near Bermuda, it will pump quite a bit of moisture into this. But again, we're already way past a week. This is coming in next Tuesday here, and then lasting through Wednesday and Thursday. So for much of that time, you see that things are drier in this area. Now, as we get out there and look at snow, the mild air that's going to be coming in is going to limit snow production. There'll be decent snows in the Cascades and Northern Rockies, and with the system coming through, again, the one later this week and the one this weekend, we do put some more snow here in the Sierra Nevada, but this map shows you the probability of getting at least 3 inches. So much of the U.S. is out of it, and we just watched that clipper roll through here, delivering some snow. From here, though, I want to show you that as we get into week 2, we see the models reinforcing their pattern. So split flow coming in, subtropical ridge, and that's why this whole region is showing up wet again in the models going out there toward the middle of the month. But it's going to be the temperature pattern that's going to dictate precipitation type here, and I want to show you that next. First of all, the cold air that is coming into New England 10 days ago was sitting over Siberia in the Arctic. So it's right now pushing through the Canadian Prairie. It's into the northern plains this morning. That's going to continue toward the northeast over the next 2 days. And those low temperatures are going to be very cold. We're expecting wind chill temperatures in parts of New England that'll get down to the minus 30 to minus 50 degree range. But I want to show you high temperatures, there you go, compared to normal, just as kind of a benchmark on where these temperatures are going to be. So here's our ice storm today. The surface subfreezing layer all day stays below freezing across a broad part of the south here. But into Wednesday, from Wednesday into Thursday, here's some of the colder air we talked about. This is, again, another major shot, but watch the moderation that happens here. Because as that cold air moves over the Great Lakes on Friday and then into New England, where we expect for 2 days here, Friday into Saturday, to have high temperatures below 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Behind it is some incredibly mild air. And this is just a volatile temperature pattern for much of the United States. So here's Sunday, getting into Monday and Tuesday. And this mild air seems to want to stick around for a while. This is the latest update from the European model. It's a 5-day sliding window of temperature anomaly. So we're just looking at the overall pattern. What we can see here is that a lack of big high latitude blocking like over Alaska or Greenland means that the jet stream is unable to really just uncork a lot of that colder air north like it just did. And we just see a lot of very mild conditions through the Canadian Prairie and almost everywhere east of the Rocky Mountains. This is being reinforced by a subtropical ridge, which we keep seeing show up in the models. But the cooler anomalies, as we talked about yesterday in the Intermountain West, is largely driven by, I think, a colder bias due to snow. It could be colder than average for much of the West, but I don't see it being overly cold throughout parts of like California, as an example here. So from there, I just want to give you an update on South America, and just to show you that models were incredibly consistent with what they showed yesterday. So we see the drier trend in the north. We see drier conditions in Argentina, while the temperatures in Argentina in midsummer here are going to go up, at times 5 to 10 C above normal, which is going to stress crops there. But in central Brazil, it remains very, very wet in this area. I saw a video which I linked today in today's report of what this has done to kind of the ag industry in terms of transporting everything from fertilizer to grain, right in this area. One thing I want to make note of, watch this drier area that is over north central Brazil. It's great right now for harvest of soybeans, planting of safrinha corn, But should this persist later in this month and into March, it's going to be a possible signal that tells me that the monsoon is maybe slowed down. There's a few hints that it is. I'll talk about those in Thursday night's in-depth report, but at this point, I just want to keep a close eye on this. Lastly, if you do get a chance to read today's report, I do cover the January stats on temperature as well as precipitation. So take a close look at these in the report today. And also the CPC released their latest outlook and their last outlook for what they think February is going to look like. And we have a quick discussion about that. So I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Be careful if you're down in the south with this ice storm. And we'll talk again tomorrow. Thanks.